YouTube Nation? Hachi here with another video, and today I'm covering a route that I believe that where Indians took and Indians lived. I've been noticing a lot of Fitchburg, Mass, and reading up on it, learning about how, if you look around and if you're local, just take a little notice. But I mean, if you notice, you notice. If you didn't before, you didn't. But there is a lot of pine trees throughout this, and I believe that's why the Indians came through this city a lot. I believe that the Indians, made this a route. Why they didn't, I did read about they did live here, but it's tough to say what tribe lived here, and I don't know why no one can figure that out, because the pine trees is a big issue of why they lived here, due to the fact is claims that the animals use the pine trees through bad weather, to cover them from getting dropped on and so forth. So yeah, that's why every video I've done, especially bringing in my wife's dream of her having the Indians on the rock, I'm for damn sure that they lived there, and that now I think there's more to tell than what people know and write about. Right now we're on the New Snock Road, passing Meadowbrook. Meadowbrook, I now found out how it got its name. There was a brook behind Meadowbrook, and it is now dried up, pretty much dried up, and it's just a swamp now. But it was New Brook, and the Indians named that due to the fact that they followed it. Just like they followed the rivers. If they weren't following rivers, they were following brooks. And you can't see, but all these houses, I believe, and I think the brook may have curved throughout this area over here. So, and it must have came down this road or crossed across the road over here and went down somewhere. I know for a fact now that I've been studying this road, plus going on South Street over here, I've noticed there's a big gully in the back, and now the power lines are over here that cover the brook. So, as you can, I can get a shot of it with the trees down. That's why I love, all out back in here was the brook of New Brook. Now, whether, I think I might have ran out of Cogshell Park, because there's another area across the street that was boxed in by the road here when it was built. They must have leveled the land, did something to the brook, and just cut it off completely. That's why it's all dried up now. But even on Google Map, when I searched it, it showed that the brook of Meadowbrook was just one line of water, which I do not believe, because I think it starts in this area right over here, because I can see a dried up brook and it crossed over. So most definitely the Indians went up to Cogshell, and Cogshell Park does have rock hills, huge rock hills, if you've ever been in there, local people. But if you ever want to come down and visit Cogshell Park, you will see the many hills of rocks that surround that little pond they have out there. And they used to probably fish in there, or the brook either ran from I'm thinking too, they do in the in the pond they have in there, it does get cut off by a bridge, so there's a swampy area. So I'm about to wonder if that water ran from somewhere else. Maybe, I want to say, just maybe, it could have ran from the fresh water over by the highway on Route 2. So that was giving freshwater fish down, and the fish would, follow the brook and head down below. It might have even ran into the Nashua River, I think. That's why Vanusnak Road was built. Because the brook probably ran down that hill and they filled it all in. So, it's about to wonder why the Indians went fishing and and over here is the entrance, one of the entrances to Cogshell Park. But if you ever come in here and notice, you'll see what I'm saying. That I believe that water ran from Route 2 through Cogshell Park. I mean, if there's old maps of this city, I'm for sure, and it's safe to say that you would find that water ran from like Route 2 way, where the reservoir is over there, and brought fish to Nashua, to the Nashua River. But all along this road, and now we are on Franklin Road, we have Mount Elam, which is there. All up in this area is nothing but hills and pretty much pine trees. And I mean, if you come along this road and you go this way, when we pass Cumberland Farms, that is the vicinity and area that Rollstone Street is, and that also had a lot of pine trees. So I'm thinking this whole Park Hill Plaza, as you can see right over there right now, there's pine trees behind Park Hill Plaza. So they cut down a lot of pine trees throughout this area to make it. So at one time in the 1600s, this is all pine trees, all of it. And that's why the Indians, I believe, lived here, hunted here. I mean, they did a lot of trading, I found out, like I said in another video, with a first settler, and that first settler ripped them off. And I believe that, I mean, when they came either to, while living here, I think they lived here, they had to have lived here, that's just proven. People say in the writings, I mean, in the articles I read, that it ain't proven yet, but, or it wasn't proven then, but I you know what, there's no doubt in my mind, and I'll show you why now that I've studied this, went through this, and been, doing it by eye in this whole area that now on Franklin Road and these streets off to the side. You got Shea Street, all leading up into the hills of Mount Elam and Cogshell Park. If you connect all these together, that was the traveling point for the Indians. And the biggest thing, so you got Oak Hill there. And the biggest part of this now, because they have been cleaning the woods out at the end of Franklin Street here when we get down it. But like I said, I want to give you a visual of what it looks like around here. We're going to be going up a hill, and this is the area, like I said in the last video I had, the King Philip War must have been a hideout. For damn sure it was a hideout, and I'm also for damn sure Indians lived up here too. Because as now we go to the winding down to the end of the road of Franklin Road here, all we have up in here is hills and rocks once again. So between Franklin Road, Cogshell Park that I just showed you, this was nothing, and it's, but up in here you got some great hills. It's just nuts what I've been just studying on my own and finding out, and knowing that the Indians used to use the hills in the rivers to get away from the Englishmen when, things got rough. That's what they did. They literally just ran to the hills. And that's pretty much why you have your Iron Maiden song, Run to the Hills. Indians used to do that for safety. Because once you get up in them hills, in these trees, what Englishman's gonna follow? Because they ain't gonna see you while you're coming up and attack. So, I gotta pull over here, get some jerk off on my ass, right in my ass. I'm still going fast. But, so it only go, and what brings me out here too is, and over here you can, I'll just give a quick shot. I'm gonna stop a minute just to show. Up in here is a bunch of rocks, and up in here leads to the hills and rocks that my wife had a dream of Indian warriors it was. And it was just crazy how she came out with that dream at one point in time. And she said they looked mean, and people here gotta stare at me. She came out with two versions of this dream. She probably don't even remember what the hell she was saying, but she said they looked mean and ready with, face paint and all this. And, I rely on a lot of dreaming. And obviously they were in midst of getting ready to go to battle. And that's what they did on the mountains, just like Mount Wachusett. That was the stronghold for the whole King Philip War. And why I bring you to this road now, and you'll see in a moment, up in here, we have all the hills, like I said, that you got a power line up there, like a light line. And why I am so interested in this is you'll see right here, right now, along over there, you can see it, Mount Wachusett is seen. And this is why the Indians use this area of that rock to keep their eyes open for when, and that's why I call this place a hideout. Because when dances began, or the Indians went up on Mount Wachusett, they used to give out their smoke signals to the other Indians, either to attack, to stay, or whatever it may be. This rock up in here, I believe, was a hideout for the Indians to wait for signal from Mount Wachusett on what to do next during the King Philip War or any war. As you can see, we're getting a better view. We got another person coming up this on my ass. But once you see it, and right there, bang, it's all in the back of them woods. There's Mount Wachusett over there. And it's just crazy of just thinking of what had happened here in this town. And this town was, like I said, a very useful path for the Indians. They literally used this town, whether to be lived in or to cross through for the King Philip War. And I'm safe to say I got my money on it. I'll put money on it if I had to. That this whole area right here between these hills and Cogshell Park, this was a main path for the Indians. Hideouts and everything. And here's the rock, like I said before, that my wife saw the Indians on. I don't know if it was this one or further back in the woods, but it is up there, and it's definitely, that's her old house, childhood house, and the rock runs along the back of her yard. But that led right out over to here into the swamp areas, and that leads right out to the freshwater fish that Indians used to do. As you can see, there's more rocks over here. I wish I had it's just nuts. of what I've been finding, especially with that one dream. So this is just another showing and viewing of what I think, my thoughts, my theories, and I'm just going by instinct. You can see more rocks like I showed in that other video over here. Everything around here is just a field of Indians. And once again, I'll run myself up on Oak Hill Road, which is on the other side of Franklin Road. This too leads. This is a centerpiece of history that I believe is sacred and was a very awesome place to even think of. And I mean the golf course, like I said before, I believe was a meadow. Whether it was a meadow or it was already cut down, later on, I believe that all this area, was just used for a path to Mount Wachusett and the hideout and to wait for signals, like I said. So I think I'm doing this all on instinct. I'm doing this thinking of what an Indian would do. It's like piecing parts to a puzzle, or pieces to a puzzle or whatnot. And I think I'm getting it right. I got more traveling to do through this town. I got more things to locate, and I'm just getting it out there. I gotta get it out there. It's gotta be documented. To me, I feel as the Indian nation is being forgotten. I think they deserve more than just a story to be told. And like I said, here's the other side over here, just real quick, of that tower that leads on top of pretty much pieces of this mountain over here. But like I say, I just want to get the story out. And this war is no different than the one today. We are now the Indians being, forced to do things we don't want to. And I'll say it over and over again. Oh, let's change like the Indians did. Let's change our religions of saying, God bless you. Let's not say Merry Christmas. Oh, it's got to be Happy Holidays. It's getting disgusting let's not say the Pledge of Allegiance, whether kids are starting to do it back and teachers are trying to get their rights back. Still, it should have never been an issue. It should have never been stopped or restarted. It should all be left alone. Just like the Indians. Why don't we just change our names like the Indians did? If we're going to let these refugees in here. If we're going to leave these, why don't we just learn their language and just do what the Indians did? Why don't we go worship Allah? And then, why don't we just do what the Indians did and transform our lives just so these people can come over here so-called being safe? No. You know what? You need to leave this alone and stop realizing what the Indians went through and what's gonna happen. A big bloody war. What's already happening. Gonna stop until we're all dead. So the Indians went through it, and now they're left with very small tribes. And I think whatever they do, which I read up on some stuff of them trying to get some land back for themselves, it wasn't working. So I don't know. I just figured I'd show you this piece that I'm working on. This is a dwelling, Indian dwellings. And I'm safe to say they were in this town. And hopefully one day I'm going to come across a spirit, because I'm going to be looking. Till the next video, YouTube Nation, out.